recently I had a conversation with one of my close, like, movie cinema friends about our favorite films, like, of all time. And as someone who literally loves animation and could talk about it all day, my list obviously included animated classics and cinematic masterpieces like Shrek and Ratatouille. But for some reason, I was so hesitant to bring up and talk about Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, I would say generally people say it's a pretty good movie, but no one seems to like rave about it and really talk about how good this movie really, really is. So today, I'll be trying my best to put my ideas together and really try to get you all to understand like how good this movie really, really is. Concept alone, I mean, conceptually, this movie hits it out of the ballpark. I mean, we've seen animals talk and live regular lives, toys, and fish.
Can't touch this.
But video game characters, aside from that really weird time span in cinema, and with their more recent effort, they haven't gotten the same sort of attention as Wreck-It Ralph. I mean, simply just on concept alone of these video game characters having lives after the players go home and the arcade closes is brilliant all in of itself. Not to mention Train Central Station being inside the plugs, their fear of being unplugged similar to our fear of death, and their caring about being picked by the player. Also, just the premise of a bad guy villain character in a game wanting the attention of the good guy hero is conceptually brilliant, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. I'm so happy they decided to change the concept to focus on Ralph rather than making another tired good guys win trope with Felix. World building. This kind of goes back to concept, but I'm talking about specifically in the little details of how the world is made up. Like in Sugar Rush with the devil dogs and the racers and all their specialized, stylized carts and all of the little sweet candy things that make that world really come to life. I adore that they didn't just make it gingerbread houses, Candyland type of things for Sugar Rush, and actually went beyond that for the Sugar Rush design and architecture. I adore how you can see a clear stylistic change from game to game, as well as a total shift in lighting, style, and color once you step into games. With Hero's Duty having a more Call of Duty, Modern Warfare, futuristic look, Wreck-It Ralph having a blocky retro look, and Sugar Rush having that sweet little candy like dolly kind of look for all the sweet little candy racers. Oh my god, can you tell that I want them to make an actual Sugar Rush game? It also helps that it takes place in a game rather than it just coincidentally taking place in one. So many movies nowadays are in very diverse environments and situations simply for appeal and marketing, but no true rhyme or reason for it to take place in said environment. But Wreck-It Ralph taking place in a game is fundamentally brilliant. A movie focusing so heavily on status in society and accepting your place in life taking place in a game, because it's just the way things were coded or meant to be, works so well in a game setting because generally your level and character are a fundamental aspect of any gameplay. Score. Okay, great. Moving on. Characters. The character design in this movie? Peak. Literally so good. Basing itself off of video games and using that knowledge to make it just that much better. I'm so happy they didn't make Fix-It Felix have some sort of superhero build and decide to make him almost Mario-like. It's even in the animation. All the different game characters are animated differently based on the genre/era they were from. Also, I have to make the Sugar Rush Racers have their own segment because this is just where peak character design takes place. I mean, look at them. This is why it gets me when people make the assumption that art majors are dumb. I mean, seriously. Do you guys think that any kind of idiot can make character design this good? I mean, I would say the only negative design choice in Wreck-It Ralph is making Turbo half Cybug. And I feel like, yes, it was necessary to the ending, but only because of the way that the ending was written. Like, it very well could have just been, like, Turbo King Candy himself being lifted off by a swarm of Cybugs, but then again, they wouldn't have made it to like the top of Diacolar Springs and had that scene. So I don't really know. I'm not sure. Maybe I think that my issue is I don't actually like the end result of Turbo's final form. Like, I feel like it really could have worked if they just had designed it just a little bit differently. It was almost like they were doing the Coraline bug thing, but just dollar store version. Writing. Oftentimes, people seem to skip over how fundamental good writing is to a good film. People seem not to understand that the writing is the skeleton that holds up any truly good film. No matter how good a movie looks, no matter how advanced they get with the water and the lighting and anything, if it doesn't have a strong skeletal structure in its writing, it is not good. Lightyear. Sorry. Ooh, a little something in my throat. With animated movies, you have to see them as a medium to tell great stories that are commonly directed and advertised towards children, but should adhere to an audience of all ages. And Wreck-It Ralph is a prime example. Of course, to little kids, this is just arcade Bowser's Sonic Vanellope movie, but hopefully to people with a more developed frontal cortex, this movie contains many elusive ideas about your place in life, like class, social status, and job title. With medals being emblematic of so many things like money, popularity, and beauty, Ralph during this movie has many delusions of grandeur about the medal being able to change his life and make him truly happy, wanting nothing more than to be accepted and celebrated like Felix, feeling constant understandable envy about not being appreciated when he feels he does just as much or even more than Fix-It Felix Jr. himself. And if you want to argue with me about this movie relatably symbolizing class and social status and your place in society, argue with the wall. Not to mention the oh-so relatable friendship between Ralph and Vanellope that's so well written and believable that it makes it all the more sad when they split up. I love that the writing manages to make Ralph seem like the bad guy when he breaks the cart, when he's just trying to do the right thing and protect Vanellope, continuing to symbolize the struggles he faced at home. Also, I must mention, Turbo is one of the only well-done twist villains in the 2010s. I mean, the whole setup from the villain's AA meeting, all throughout the movie to the final reveal of King Candy being Turbo himself, chef's kiss, honestly. And for these very reasons, I do believe Wreck-It Ralph is one of Walt Disney Animation Studios' best works and an undeniable cinematic masterpiece. Log on to Disney Plus and show this movie some of the appreciation it deserves. Thank you all for listening to my TED Talk.